The first third of the NAL is already over. 3 days is both a blink of an eye and a competitive eternity depending on how well your team is performing. Most teams have had 3 chances to show what they've got. Some will get their 3rd chance today, but now we enter a phase where every game from here on out becomes way less predictable. Welcome back to the North American League. I'm Caliber Jacob Anderson. He's former world champion Gearbalaxing Miralez. He's Oxygen Esports alumni Davide Foxebucci. I mean, you both are, but he was the guy who last played with them, so he gets the credit this time.
Who gets the credit for them doing bad?
Not me. Not me.
Neither one of you.
Let's blame it on you, Jacob.
What did I do?
No, you cursed.
You didn't save OXG.
I have 1 OXG sticker on my water bottle. Is that enough to make you displeased with OXG's performance?
Nope, absolutely not.
No?
No.
What did I do?
Everything.
What did I do?
Everything.
Chat, help me understand what I did to do this to Ox. Don't worry about it. Here's standings after day 3. They are at the bottom of the standings as of right now, but they won't play a game today, which means they just have to sit back and wait for their next opportunity to earn points. Sonics and M80 at the very, very top, with Space Station and C9BC not far behind them.
Yeah, we saw C9BC last week ended on a loss, and now they come back. They come into full storm. OXG has to end so far this week on 0-3. That's not going to be something that you want to sit in. Obviously, we said that they needed a wake-up call. Hopefully that wake-up call comes for week 3. But the rest of our standings, I'd say everything is kind of in similar fashion of what we both predicted at the start of this stage.
Yeah, everything's shaken up pretty well. Obviously, the biggest factor of seeing Oxygen at the bottom. I don't want to hone too much in Oxygen. We've obviously said a lot already, and there's still a lot.
This is the one time we get to talk about them because they don't play today.
Yeah,
so.
it's, you know, it just, like I said, for myself and the history of Oxygen, for Fox as well, just to see him at the bottom, it's not a nice feeling to see.
We'll hope that they can grab a really big shovel and work their way out of the crater that they've somehow found themselves in. But that won't happen until next week. They have the bye, which means every other team this week has the chance to even the gap, make it even bigger, because there's nothing OXG can do at the bottom. So now your entire intent is just to get as many points as possible right now.
So we talked about this yesterday at the end of the night. The match I'm actually really looking forward to the most here is actually the DarkZero versus Los. Just for the simple fact, we obviously didn't get to see a lot from Los. We did see them beat Oxygen. That's not saying a lot. But in terms of DarkZero, obviously they had that huge resurgence after being smoked by Sonics. That we see them yesterday was a completely different look in terms of their identity and everything. So for that game, I am really excited to see both these teams really duke it out.
You have a favorite?
I'd agree. I think the first one is definitely something that I'm excited for. I'm a real big Los believer, but DarkZero looked really scary yesterday. So
How scary?
They look pretty scary. So that'll be a tough game for Los. But besides that game, I think the game at the end of the day, SQ-SSG, is obviously the most anticipated matchup of the day. Just 2 Titans. We love seeing teams at the top of that leaderboard play against each other for points. Can SQ gap the rest of the teams? Can they start making more and more points and lead away? Will SSG make it closer? I'm excited.
We got super blessed by that game being the one that happens at the very end of the day too, which is dope. So if you want to see whether Troy has the possibility of knocking off both of the last orgs that he played for, stick around until the very, very end before we get to Sonics and who are they playing?
SSG.
Space Station. Dude, brain is not on one right now, but that's totally fine. Game number 1, DarkZero and Los. Both teams have only played 2 games so far this split. They'll play their 3rd one here. They both lost their 1st game, then won their 2nd game, but that's kind of where the similarities end because they play very different styles of CQ.
Yeah, I think both teams have a lot to improve here and a lot to show, obviously. In both situations, Los, as of last stage, wasn't looking great, but this stage, they are looking a lot better. And for DarkZero, obviously, the big roster changes, the big shakeups, didn't look good their 1st game, but looked way better the 2nd game, and now it's to see what these 2 can now do against one another.
Yeah, and if you look at the head-to-head, I don't think if you would have told anybody at the start of the stage that Los would have the best attacking win percentage in the league, and DarkZero have one of the worst attacking win percentages in the league, I don't think you would have believed it. I don't think anybody would have expected it, but obviously both teams had polar opposite starts to the season. We're excited to see more from Los and more from DarkZero as well. Hopefully DarkZero can keep their consistency from yesterday into today, and hopefully Los can keep that consistency from OXG into today too.
Again, those numbers will look dire for people who look at day 4 and think, you've played 3 games already? Again, they haven't. They've only played 2, so now once they complete their first third of the NAL, then we'll really start seeing what both of these teams are about. For DZ, much different than how they played last week. They only had the game against SQ, lost it, then went into Shallow LA against SSG just yesterday, everybody was down on them from the get-go, but as recoveries go, that was a defensive shutdown.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the team it was night and day difference from this roster. You heard even in the interview, you know, what they wanted to do, the things that they were doing differently, and we were seeing it display there. We saw a lot more aggressive pace team going into this matchup, specifically when it was against SSG, and that was beautiful to see because we weren't sure what Nath was going to bring to this roster. Obviously, we saw Kobilax on that support role, which we never thought for the case of them picking him up, it would have been an aggressive play style. I mean, a supportive play style.
Yeah. So if there was anything that we needed to adjust, I mean, they did a really good job figuring that out on their own, but that, again, every defense was perfect yesterday.
Yeah, 100%. But then I do want to focus on their attacks because that's where we really saw the difference in DZ. We saw the sheer aggression that was being played from this roster, especially from Pamba, especially from Kobilax. I mean, all the players across the board were really getting in SSG's face and taking that map control and taking those gunfights, and that's not something you would typically see from an old DarkZero, so it's good to see that they are changing that pace and the fundamentals on this team.
They also took a fair amount of flack in the Skyscraper game against Sonics for the roles that Kobe was playing on, but on attack, it looked like whether it was a shift or that was what they always had intended for Kobe to do, he had a way better game.
Yes, and you want to highlight Kobe. Obviously, now we can finally talk about him, put him in the spotlight because, sure, he wasn't the best performer, but we were seeing a tons of success out of him throughout this game. He wasn't scared. He was playing to his strength of being aggressive, being a thorn in SSG side, and really bringing it to him. And it's really good to see that your rookie is confident to be playing in these positions, being in these solo situations, taking these 1v2s, being able to read these situations is such a pivotal factor for him, especially this early into his career. But what I gotta see consistency, Kobe. I don't care if you did it in one game. I gotta see it throughout the remainder of this stage.
Yeah, we want to see him float for the remainder of this stage. I mean, that's something he was saying all day yesterday, and something that he was very much a necessity for is those defensive rounds on the side of DZ. DZ struggled on their previous defenses, and so to have him now be able to float on those defenses makes him that much more deadly. A lot of those clips that we saw, he was solo holding individual positions, and they're just putting him in Pamba-esque spots back when Pamba was in those positions to just, we do your job, you just need to get your kills, stall position as much as you can, and that's exactly what Kobe was doing.
And he's not playing against any slouches either.
No.
He's not playing against anyone that doesn't know how to play the game, that's brand new to the game. He's playing some top-tier level players across that and still performing the way that he was. It's impressive, but again, don't want to talk him up too much. We still have a lot to see from him.
He was playing some trash talkers and knows how to trash talk back, too, in the lobby. It's a good thing to see. We have all chat turned on now, which means if anyone's going to start talking smack, Kobe knows how to back it up. He played really well yesterday. He was great in the interview as well, but we couldn't get enough of him, so we sat him down to talk about what his journey to Stage 1 or to Tier 1 has been like so far.
Hi, I'm Kobilax. I'm the new player for DarkZero Esports. My T2 career, until I got picked up by DZ, was, okay, so I basically switched to PC a year ago. I randomly got hit up by my boys on MV. We play E2, we go flawless and win, and then boom, everything just started from there. Like, I feel like E2 gave me a huge boost. After I won E2, I made that team with Packer, Gady, Bino, Woos for E3, and then same thing, we won that against even pro teams. And then after that, I got a couple pro league tryouts, which I didn't get picked up because I was competing with other players who, you know, have more experience than me and stuff. I was obviously lacking experience. They probably didn't want to take that chance on a rookie. I tried out with DZ, and then they decided to take that chance. And we're here. We're floating. With the last team I was on Makers, I feel like they're all Team 1 level players. Like, we treated that team like a Team 1 team. Like, we did everything a Team 1 team would do, you know? Like, from Pro League, I'll say, like, it's just scrims right now, you know? Like, I haven't really played, like, actual Pro League. But I would say it's, like, definitely more comp, I would say. Definitely more comp. A player I would say that I have a cam on the team already will be Pamba. I feel like me and Pamba could be really good once we get, like, that cam up there, that duo cam, like, just floating on the map, you know? Just on people. That's kind of what the cam I have with my boy Diffuser on MV. That's how I see myself with Pamba right now. I would love to go to the major too. That would be a cool experience, you know? Meeting people IRL, like from Siege and stuff, from the league. Oh, that'll be cool. To be honest, my personal goal in the stage is just flow. Like, I'm just trying to just have a golden stats. I'm trying to have the golden centuries, positive, everything. Like, I'm just trying to flow. Just typical me, the usual. I'm just trying to do the usual, keep it going.
The two-time Element champion coming back and proving why he deserved a shot in Tier 1, and it happened with a team that is known far and wide for what their accomplishments over the course of the past several years. I just think a lot of people are going to keep on putting him in the same box they put Canadian into because he's the guy that's going in for the guy coming out, but they're not the same player. We need to establish that up front.
Yeah, but you can see in that video that Kobilax has so much chemistry, and I think that's something that DarkZero specifically needed just on the team, and you can see in their games, in their cameras yesterday, they're having so much fun, even though Nafe was dropping a donut until the last round. Once he got that one, everyone's screaming high energy, and I think that's not something that we've seen from DarkZero in a long time. They've always been stale face, straight to the meta.
They haven't looked like the fun
simple
team before, yeah,
exactly.
True.
And this is the first time since bringing Kobe. I mean, you can just see it in his energy, and well, he said it best. Once he's able to build that chemistry with the rest of his team, I mean, we talk about it a lot, that vibes, the energy usually adds a lot more to your success.
And especially bringing in a new guy like this that is bringing that attitude, bringing in that, you know, just that hype, that shit talk that he was bringing. I mean, it definitely revitalizes everyone and be like, this is why we're competing. This is why we're here. This is why we're a team, and let's get it done. So, again, I am happy to see that confidence, arrogance, whatever you want to call it. Again, I just want to see the consistency out of Kobe and see him really thrive as a player.
They had a really good bounce back after losing their first game of the stage, but so did Los. The only question is, how impactful was that win over Oxygen? Because now Oxygen themselves have proven to be the bottom team in the league. So how much does that win that they got last week really matter, Fox?
To them, it matters immensely. Mentally, just being able to get that win 2 weeks earlier than they got their first win in Stage 1 is a huge, huge win. Los has already surpassed their low expectations. Their individual comfortability has boosted their individual performance ever since picking up Wizard and Arthur. They're just able to give so much comfortability to the rest of the roster to just be able to shoot, be the rookies that we brought Farius and Legacy to come in to be. Just shoot your gun, do your job, and let the older guys with more experience worry about all the thinking.
I think the weird part is because Farius and Legacy came in, last stage was their rookie stage, but because Los didn't do very much in that stage at all, and we were wondering, are they going to be on the team come Stage 2? I think we're still treating them like rookies to a certain extent, and then Legacy does what he does, and there's kind of no contest why they brought these guys up.
Yeah, we didn't actually see much at a Stage 1, like you said, and it's their rookie year, but something that we saw out of Legacy all day yesterday was he was not a rookie player by no means. The positions that he was putting himself in, the confidence that he was able to have with all of his gunfights, some of these gunfights like that one shooting through the floor, the verticality, the experience out of this player has been amplified from Stage 1 to Stage 2. Individually, he's been playing amazing because he is also on the support role, a role that you don't normally see players getting kills, and every team has their own different playstyle on how they want to use their support. But how Los uses him on the hard breach is once he's able to use his utility, he opens up his hard walls, he drones his teammates in, he turns into that entry, that headhunter, and he's able to just float. Sexy Cake even called him their special silly little guy because once he does his job, he's able to just go find those kills. He does whatever he needs to do to execute the enemy team. So far in the first week, and in their first 2 games, they've been, I mean, Legacy's just been really farming.
I mean, it's a scary thing to have, too. Obviously, you have your entries, but if your support player is doing practically what your entry is doing, I mean, that's scary. And we're talking about backlines and front lines, and the fact that their backline is looking that solid, especially from a newer player, I mean, that's a scary thing to be done. So the fact that if they can get their foundation for this team and find all the roots and canals that they need to make this roster work, I could see Los being a very highly competitive team.
Through the first week, Legacy was tied with none other than Rexon for most kills in the league, looking to keep that trend going now, having not played in Game 3 or in Day 3. Day 4, an opponent like DarkZero to bounce back would be a massive win against a team like this because, again, Los have not won 2 games over the course of a single stage since they've been in the NAL.
Now, see, here's the issue with this matchup is Los has been very good preparation-wise. We know DZ is a very methodical team, but Los preparation-wise, I would say they're on par with some of the top teams in NA currently. Now, where the issues that falter is their individual performance that has also been playing very well. But the issue is when they played against OXG, they let their individual playstyle reign through. Obviously, everybody on Los was doing well. OXG gave them those gunfights. They gave them those kills. DarkZero, historically, is not a team that just gives you free kills, gives you a free entry into the map. And so that'll be the nice little matchup between these 2 teams to see if Los will bring in some new identity as opposed to what they showed against OXG and really let their brain take over in this match.
And even for DarkZero, I mean, with the shakeup and how they're changing their style of play, because as we've known them, they've been notorious for being a very strat-heavy, very focused, down to the T, and now they're being far more aggressive. which the nice thing that Los has that experience with all these players. Sure, they've been in the NAL just as of recently, but they have played in Brazil, which has been a notoriously known continent for being highly aggressive.
Brazil is a continent, huh?
Well,
don't do that.
It's all
to him,
good.
Jacob.
It's all good.
in terms
all
of the
good.
region, sorry, the region has been known to be highly focused on aggression. So if DZ is going to play a game of aggression, they're going to be familiar with this.
Clubhouse doesn't seem like the sort of map where either of them are looking to innovate either. They have an idea of what they want to do, and they just want to stick to it and go. They're not trying to do anything creative on a map like Club, because you kind of can't get that creative with Club.
Yeah, and I just want to say, South America is a continent. Okay.
There you go. Good job.
I think Club is a very good even playing ground for both of these teams. Obviously, like you said, it's not going to be innovated. There's a wheel. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And I understand completely why DarkZero would want to take them to this map, because we saw DarkZero having issues with their attackability, with their flexibility, and the way they want to be as a new team. So bringing it to a map that's very basic. We talk about it how it's the new Oregon, the new consistent. So it is a really good matchup to see both teams play, and it's not one that you can rack your head out by the different attacks that you can do. There's not too much diversity in the strats that you can do, like a map, Nighthaven, that Los was able to play. I think DZ's playing it safe, bringing it to a map that they know that if you're the better team at, you should be able to get away with it.
Yeah, and I think it just goes back down to what you're saying. If you're the better team here, you're going to find the success, but that ultimately does come down to the small errors. The small errors are what really is going to be a crutch to both these teams. So it's going to be really quick to adapting, quick to understanding of, maybe you're bringing a different operator, maybe you're just hitting from a different site, maybe you're applying one extra person somewhere else to, forego that one person that's holding it. So it's really going to come down to the small errors with this matchup and who's quicker at identifying those.
Again, the one win that Los got was OXG. That's a good start, but now we know where OXG has kind of slipped to. So if they were to get a win over DZ that themselves are still trying to figure some things out, that's, again, a really, really good upward trend.
Yeah, you'd have to feel good just off that alone, that clearly from your last stage to now, you are making improvements, especially with the roster changes. Your newer players are performing
Not waiting
well.
until week 3 to get your first win is a big deal.
Right, so I think that's important.
And also, getting a win so early on against DarkZero is only going to get better with time. So being able to get a win from them when they are quote-unquote weaker would obviously mean a lot to Los. And Clubhouse is a map where players like Legacy will be able to shine. It's a very big Hibana map, so I'd be surprised to see here if DarkZero doesn't ban Hibana, because you can get so many hatches, and then Legacy can just turn into that headhunter that we highlighted.
Bottom line, both teams needs a win here, I think, to really propel their confidence and showing that these roster changes and the moves that they're making are creating success.
Well, no team wants to lose.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, but when you do make the roster changes that you made, I mean, you have to go into it with sheer confidence. You don't want to keep losing and be like, oh, well, now we're questioning our ability if we picked up the wrong people or we're not making the right decision.
To Fox's point, the idea of picking up Kobe and then having a huge charisma boost in the lobby, I do think is going to make a massive deal, because we haven't looked at DarkZero as, I said the fun team, but I think in cases like this, we're certainly hoping that whatever Kobe brings is not just what he does in the server, it's what he does in comms too. We're going to take a quick break before we jump into this bad boy, and when we do, we'll finally get to Los and DZ's third map of the stage. Real quick after the break.
Thank you very much for your patience, everybody. And if last stage is anything to go off of, this should hopefully be a pretty exciting game. I am Lynx, joined by Stokes, and what I mean by that is the last time these two teams faced, obviously DarkZero helmed by Canadian, it was a very close overtime 8-6 victory for DZ on Clubhouse. We've had a lot of repeats this stage, I feel like, between maps and team matchups, Sam, so hopefully this one repeats in a similar fashion.
Yeah, what's another, honestly? A couple different pawns and pieces here for both respective teams, but
well, there's a king missing on one team, but
most definitely. And I mean, hey, I will say this though for DZ, getting onto that topic for a second, I really like how Kobe played yesterday. I'm really hoping that you and I can see some similar instances here today up against Los, and what better to showcase your talents than on one of our most bread and butter maps in Clubhouse.
I mean, exactly. And I think for DZ, whose biggest strength yesterday really was the consistent individual performances across the roster, aside from Nave, pretty much everybody having consistent impact, especially once we get to that defensive side on Chalet. If you didn't see the game yesterday, DarkZero go down 2-4. Most players negative at the side swap. Kobe an exception, 5-3. NGR positive as well, but Bolo, negative. Panva, also negative. And by the end of the half, Panva especially the most impactful player on the DarkZero side in their game yesterday. Obviously, they're starting on the attack here, but as the desk mentioned, this is a pretty standard map. DarkZero should maybe try to find a nice balance between Skyscraper last week and Chalet yesterday. Maybe get a bit more aggressive, but also, because it's Clubhouse, you have those fundamentals to fall back on if you're still trying to work out some of those kinks with the new IGLing.
Into the ban phase we go here for Clubhouse. Not going to get the Habana ban that we were talking about for the likes of Legacy out of DarkZero. So he's going to have free will over what hard breacher he wants to bring to the table. Could also see some ace as well, as those Selmas can be quite useful in certain instances. Not so much for hatches, but they'll definitely suffice with another operator instead. So we'll have to see what DarkZero want to do to round things out with their offensive front, as Ying and Monty are going to be off the board. And as for Los, they want to bring us to Bedroom and Gym first.
Honestly, I do really like DarkZero moving away from that Dokkaebi Azami ban, because if they are going to move to a bit more of a flexible playstyle, I mean, Dokkaebi is just too strong of an operator and too good for that playstyle in particular to remove as an option for yourself, especially on a map like Clubhouse, where Arthur on the opposite side is a very, very well-renowned Monty player, likes to play it very often, and played it on E1 last stage, has played it on Los this stage. Not only does it make more sense to swap the Monty in for the Dokkaebi, but I also think, we'll see, that that operator could just be a nice addition to this new DarkZero playstyle. As for consistency, Sam, I believe we saw 6 rounds in a row of Kobe on Deimos yesterday on Chalet, and, well, alright, he switched off onto the floor, as this time it'll instead be Panbazoo picking up the Deimos, an operator that can certainly serve a similar function to that Dokkaebi I mentioned.
Yeah, and Kobe and Panbazoo have been kind of, going bar for bar across the last 24 hours, right? I think that was the big adjustment from their first week. It was like, okay, we need to let Kobe, I think I got the quote right here, float, right? That's exactly what it was.
A lot of that word being thrown around.
Dude, quite a bit, man, quite a bit. I don't know if he's Kobe or if he's Pennywise. I'm kind of lost in between here. So we'll have to find out, though, if he can maybe snatch a few players from DarkZero here today, or rather from Los. But as for DarkZero, I'm really hoping that we can see a little bit more out of Nafe today. I think he's been really just trying to buckle things down when it comes to being the IGL, the true IGL, top of the mountain here for DarkZero now. Hasn't been focused too much on what he can really do in the server. We finally saw him get a frag at the end of the game yesterday, but again, just looking to see if he can get a little bit more action here today.
Yeah, Nafe was one of the, I think, the most highly anticipated players coming off of that M&M roster's collapse. Obviously, Solotov and Uzis both being up there, but Nafe considered to be a very underrated flex player in the world, very underrated caller, and now that he has the helm, or is at the helm of this DZ roster, he's able to put up a pretty good performance. I think a lot of people will remember why he had such a great reputation. Minute 10 seconds in, we've already seen Sexy Cake take, I think, a position DarkZero are more than aware of in their prep work. In Clubhouse last stage and this one, he is going to be on that wall trying to throw C4s through those Mav holes. He's found out, killed now by Bolo, just after Panbazoo finds the opening frag onto Legacy, by far and away the top player for Los, cut down on red stairs.
And what a lunge there for Pamba as well. He's going to remove that red stairs position, and then Kobe's going to be able to take control with the rest of DarkZero over here on the cache side / CCTV sort of things. As for Los, they're going to have to back things off a bit. They've already lost 2 bodies. They have 0 damage dealt to anybody. The only thing that happened to NJR was the wall electrocuting him as he torched that open. So the ball is in DarkZero's court. What are they going to do with it? As for Los, they're going to try and set up some sentry positions around the map just to make sure they can try and get something going up against DarkZero on this swing.
And it's definitely a bit more aggressive of a play from DarkZero, but this is why I think Clubhouse it's going to be a comfortable pick for both teams, but I think especially comfortable for DarkZero. You can see them get aggressive, but it's still by going with a pretty normal structured clear of the CCTV cache side. And what logically follows from that? Well, you rotate over to Jim, open up that wall, and then try to find the final weakness within the site. It's compounded by the fact that this is a 5v3, keep in mind. Make that a 5v2, make that a 5v1. Farius will find 1, Kobilax cut down and cache, but the damage is done at this point. Farius is outside of the site. DarkZero have control of it, and a Deathmark tracker reveals his location, which I think at this point everyone was already aware of. Pretty easy round for DarkZero to start. Their first attack coming with barely any effort put forth.
Yeah, very well done from DarkZero. And I mean, just look at how they built on top of that little joust that we saw at the top of red, right? They start to pressure that position a lot. You get the Rotero drones in there, or rather the Flores drones in there, and start to just, again, apply pressure to that position. Get Pamba to get up there, get that big kill, and they are even able to get another one on the back end of that instance, and just make life really hard for Los. And instead of just, trying to run through things aimlessly, again, they go through the natural progression of what the site's asking you to do. They work over towards the tub side, end up torching a line in that, and then work their way over for the master balcony. And that's where we saw a lot of those frags start to come in, you know what I mean? A lot of pressure coming from those two windows, get some big kills there as Los tries to fight things out for construction, but just doesn't really go their way. And I mean, really, why would it? DarkZero had absolutely everything at their disposal to exploit Los there. They really just had to make a try and see what would happen, but obviously nothing that time around.
It was honestly, I think, exactly what anybody could have hoped for a DarkZero attack. They have a plan. They aren't necessarily just given opportunities by Los to make things happen. They create their own opportunities and are able to execute those perfectly and get the first round as a result. It was exactly what you want for a team, calling a plan and then executing it without having to rely on their opponents messing up. So as we move into this next site, the Church Arsenal all the way down in the basement, it's not shocking to see that Los are going to play a bit looser of a setup. They were very close to the chest on Gym Bedroom last time, as teams often are, but here with a bit more, I suppose, spread out of a roam, DarkZero might not have ready-made positions to clear like they did in round one.
Yeah, definitely a lot more aggressive than round one. I mean, you can make your arguments as to how far they extended themselves in that position, but, you know, usually a natural extension when you see things going over towards the cash side as well as top red. I really like that shield position that we saw built up for Legacy. Just didn't really work out for him at the end of the day because DarkZero responded accordingly. Speaking of responding accordingly, we're going to have a Los player work his way downstairs as Bo, I believe, has worked his way back up into dirt, but just slowly taking his time here. Actually, no, he's actually going to be back out of that and working his way over towards stock. So there's a little noise made initially here. Get a response out of Los, but nobody going to catch any flack for that just yet.
We saw a little bit of a rotation back to the site by Los, but I think they quickly realized that that didn't necessarily mean anything. It's Arthur's Sexy Cake. Legacy now rotating down as a minute 10 seconds have gone. Really good time wasting by Los so far. DarkZero trying to find information. They still have 6 drones, but Pamazoo now fully trying to clear along the top floor and does find a kill for his troubles. Definitely something like that needed to happen. Either a lot of damage done, utility wasted, something. But DarkZero getting that 4v5, that minute 10 seconds feels a lot more palatable now. Kobe trying to go for the cutoff, but an excellent response by Los. Legacy hitting those shots, though not the same level of success as DarkZero. Kobe can be revived quite easily in this position. So while 2 players in DZ are low HP, it might still only be a minute 15 seconds remaining. DarkZero definitely coming ahead on that clear.
Most definitely. Again, we have this Kobe Pamazoo duo working things for the map, and then have these supporting units, people like Bo applying that pressure, then finding just a nice area to play around kitchen, able to swing down and capture this main stairs area now. Kobe actually going to end up bleeding out as Pampa just gets there. I'm so surprised by this, that nobody was actually able to pick him up. They had this area for so very long, especially after those players rotated off. The entire bar floor is also concrete. I mean, they really just had to worry about somebody getting aggressive from the hatch there, Carter, but they had so many bodies, you could just have somebody watch that.
Well, and I think what happened, so Kobe went down inside a strip, but then instead of crawling backwards along the pool table, crawled forwards towards the hatch, availing himself more to the dangers of those C4s. So obviously, a bit difficult to make the decision in the moment, but if he had backed up, maybe a different position, but Sexy Cake taking a very familiar spot inside of dirt, close with the shotgun. We've seen this exact same operator in this exact same position undo quite a few Church Arsenal attacks in the Clubhouse's time in the Rainbow Six map pool. 2v4, NGR will make his way in, find the back of Arthur, nicely exposed, but Los don't really have to move. The diffuser's in dirt. Gumine reveals his position. Los respond with an easy DarkZero victory with a pretty, again, effortless victory of their own.
Yeah, I think that they responded to what that top floor clear was doing pretty strongly. You know, you're able to get those players down low. You're able to get that pick onto Kobe as well. And it just makes it to where DarkZero has to start kind of grasping at straws. You really need a moment on the site to be able to open something up and look for an opportunity to plant. But they kept the book wide enough to where they were able to kind of scoop DarkZero up, especially right here. Sexy Cake knew that they prepped this earlier on and that there was a chance for them to come back to dirt as kind of a saving moment here. But instead, it just spelt demise for them as that M590 rips up DarkZero's hopes and dreams in round 2 and quickly shoves us on into round 3, unless, you know, Bo or somebody else is able to get something crazy there inside a church, but nothing really to be said.
No, certainly not. And all 3 sides played in the first 3 rounds. Los going over to CCTV and Cash. I always love to see the operators people brings to basically figure out how they are actually going to hold Garage. Azami is banned by DarkZero, as you all can see. Sometimes, every now and then, we'll see teams bring the Dock as a way to stem the tide of any utility flying up into rafters, and surely with some magnets placed next to him, it could be very strong for Los to hold on to that position for as long as they can. Also, seeing the hatch open happened inside of gym. Los might be extending a little bit into gym, though probably not super far. Overall, aside from the dock and maybe some presence on that side of the map, with the Mira and the Bandit and everything else, overall, I don't think DarkZero would be too surprised to see the setup in front of them.
Yeah, most definitely not. And also a little bit of a blessed moment here for Los as well, just given the circumstances of DarkZero's utility, right? We don't see any arrows coming out, not the craziest amount of throwables either. So could have this position stick pretty well. Pambazoo's going for a very similar move as to what we saw last time. And is that a hip fire out of the SMG-12? I think it is. DarkZero, they have full control over the site. Farius is flanking. Can he get the kill? He can. And somehow, some way, Los is making it happen. It's down to a 1 versus 2, and it's all Wizard to try and clean this up.
And it's not unwinnable. We do have somebody creeping up Red Hall, though. Does Wizard read it? He does, but NJR lands the shot. Nice gap found by Pambazoo. Definitely a risk, but it pays off. And while Los fought back valiantly, it's ineffective in the end as DarkZero retake their lead.
Well, you've seen Bad Boys, Carter, but have you seen Bad Boys 2? As he does it again, just pushing right up red stairs. He's like, here's the second iteration of the same movie. Take out that guy and just completely open up the site. I mean, you all saw how Los immediately tried to respond in kind. They need control of that space. Cash as well as top red, but really this area with this mirror window being here, right? It's the heart and soul of this entire site. Los need to have control of this. DarkZero constantly doubling down and stripping it away, getting it down to the 1 versus 2. We all know how DZ are, so comfortable in the pocket like that, especially with this talented roster. That's exactly where they want to be, and they just make it happen.
Los will definitely have to give holding red stairs on any bomb site a second thought now, as you said, 2 different times DarkZero found a way to work around it. We are back on Gym Bedroom now, so this is the perfect opportunity not only to see how Los can bounce back from that earlier loss, but also how they will deal with that position, or maybe, by the same token, how DarkZero will change things up from how they took things previously. We do have the Deimos back in the cards, in the hands of Pambazoo. Got the Kobe back on the floors as well. Overall, really not a whole lot of changes on this lineup. In fact, I'm pretty sure no changes in this lineup whatsoever. So if Los decide to try red stairs again, DarkZero have the utility for it.
Well, what's the over-under on something like that? I'm thinking at some moment in time, somebody goes for red stairs. I mean, it's too hot of an area, too hot of a route for the offense to use, and really just anybody to use to try and get access to that top floor.
I mean, as long as you're able to hold on to cash for a decent period of time, you don't necessarily need to extend over on red stairs, but you are certainly going to have to be in that area for at least some period of time. Maybe just hiding inside of cash will be a bit safer, but what do you know? We've got somebody sitting on red stairs right now. DarkZero might be taking this a little slower, but Legacy, excuse me, still holding that position.
And JR back with the Mav. Going to torch the right panel here. This is what we're going to be making soft. That's why he's taking his time and making sure the center of that wall has been torched out accordingly, as well as the far right gets the Bandit as well. So this Rotero can go on the wall and easily expose the interior. Very well done there from DarkZero, going through their process and doing it in a proper manner. So Kobe's going to actually end up adding another drone, but it's just going to be a normal one this time around. Nothing crazy, no explosives going to be tossed in here. We have some stuns though. Gonna try and assist with the sexy cake position. He's got a mute jammer as well. He's actually getting tagged up from underneath, which spooks him just a little bit. Spook me as well as the Nitro Cell flies out. He's actually gonna get scooped up. It's gonna be Bo through the drone hole. I thought it was downstairs in stock for a second, but no, it was that cheeky little peek right there off the breach.
Well, Sam, the funny thing is I'm pretty sure it was both. Legacy behind the shield does remain alive though, but Bolo is able to end his very short reign 2 times now on red stairs when defending Gym and Bedroom. Arthur on the exit is able to find 1 and a drone for his troubles, but DarkZero 2 times now have been able to throw body after body, utility after utility, and pressure upon pressure onto the CCTV and cash position and reap bountiful rewards from it. Another 1v4 that Los find themselves in, made better by some nice shots from Wizard. He knows where 1 is because of that death mark, but Pambazoo's quicker on that one. Got a little close towards the end, but DarkZero widen their lead by 1 more round.
I mean, it's just too big of a mountain to climb. Los front load things, or not even front load, they cash load things, right? There's so many people over there, so much value from the team being put in that space that once it's all gone, once DarkZero has taken control of that area and the dust settles, Los have that kind of recognition moment where they're like, we really have to get something going for ourselves here, probably on this construction area. Otherwise, they're just going to do the exact same thing they did the last time. They're going to take Master, and they're going to body both of us as they go for their full-on execute. So, I mean, props to Los for at least recognizing the position that they got themselves into, but just could not make anything out of it. DarkZero are just bullying Los out of these defensive positions.
Everybody just knows where to play on that attack. Looks so well rehearsed for DarkZero.
Oh, so clean.
Looking through the drone hole, the pressure from below. They can flood red if they need to, but they can just try to focus more on baiting Sexy Kick and the Bandit tricking the Hibana instead. Small permutations that show a really well thought out overall strategy. Church and Arsenal back on deck for Los. Moving down to the bottom floor. It's the one round DarkZero have lost so far, but 4 rounds in a row, DarkZero have managed to land that opening pick. 4 rounds in a row, they have started off their clear or round or what have you with a 5v4 advantage. Obviously, wasn't able to do a whole lot because of the time wasted on that Church Arsenal attack. So if they go for a roam clear again, pay attention to that clock and see how quickly they're able to make things progress this time.
Also, are going to have those bodies dedicated upstairs. I was interested to see if they were going to go for just maybe like kind of a ghost setup up top, set up all the reinforcements, show just like face towards the first drone and then just peel on back to see if DarkZero potentially clear it, get some time off the clock. But it seems like they want to stick around just for now. DarkZero are going to apply some Selmos up top, but no real drone presence just yet. And that might be what Los are waiting for, but knowing DarkZero will be the cutbacks, or rather the cutoffs on the fallbacks here for Los, as they are wrapping themselves around this mid-floor. Los might end up getting put on an island on this top level, but it really just comes down to what happens over here on that main stairs space. It's usually where we end up seeing things going on. NJR's already got secret stairs locked up, so already not something that Los can gain access to.
We'll have to fall back, though, as Los are certainly making use of those F-Knots to allow themselves this extended roam, because DarkZero think they can get away with those lurks, but the F-Knots reveal these positions. Sexy Kick finds Pambazoo.
Oh, wow.
Darius finds NJR. A lot more individual engagements taken by DarkZero this time, and Los are there to punish them. Wizard with the third, and this seems to be a quick win for Los. If this trend has anything to say, another 2v4, another entry into the site, but a bit different this time. As Nate finds one, it's only one body lead for Los, and Bolo's got the angle on 2 of them. They're not able to rotate back in time, and we're in the post. One drops from behind. Bolo wraps, and he does it to him. Highlight reel play inbound. You'll see that one on TikTok tomorrow. 4-1 DZ.
Talk about a hot hand, dude. Oh my goodness gracious. Jason Doty, once again, just putting him on a reel. Truly incredible, too. I mean, they drop into sight. It's a 2 versus 3, 2 versus 4 there. And, I mean, props to Nave as well. He gets that initial kill there, Carter, and he goes, I've got Bo's the Overwatch. I'm just going to immediately start planting this on the church table. And why not, man? Somebody like Bo, you just got to respect the talent. Look at this once again, guys. As he plays this off the bomb chassis, quickly turns, pre-fires this, turns on a dime after Wizard takes down Nave, then able to find that player inside of Moto. I mean, you just can't draw it up like that. That's just moments that can only be made by somebody with that much talent.
It's also similar to a lot of the moments we saw in that SSG game yesterday, though on the defensive side, really being made by individual coordination or big plays from different members of DZ. Every round they've won so far, aside from round 5, really came down to excellent strategy and excellent clear. That time, Los got the better of them on the roam. They not only had utility in place to stop DarkZero from flanking down into the site early, but also played really well with that information to catch NJR by himself, a timing on the player outside of Garage. But Bolo able to have a big moment like that makes this game a whole lot more palatable for DarkZero going on to what yesterday was their stronger side, no matter how round 6 ends. It is the final round of their attack, the final round of Los's defense. The Church Arsenal sites have certainly been close and competitive every single time, but unfortunately, every other one has been pretty dominant in DarkZero's favor.
Well, and it being the last round as well, it seems like we're going to get a little bit of icing for this cake, is we're going to get Bo on Blitz. Not something you see all the time, but definitely something that can be effective. This operator, especially in like the last year or two, has just became such a threat, especially after they allowed him to sprint and keep that shield up. The shield operators have been truly incredible, and Blitz obviously inside of that realm. And we'll see what he can do with that stun shield here as Nave is going to start breaking things down over on the tub wall, looking to work their way in through this extended area that Los has set up. And once again, Farius is going to go down. DarkZero just not missing on their openers here today.
Not missing, only missed one, and it was round 5, which they won anyway. So if you're going to drop it in one singular round, I suppose that's the one. Blitz trying to create space. I think the wall's a little difficult right now, and also waiting for that bathroom breach to open up. DarkZero have been so good on these more smaller clears, whether it's clearing out Red and Cash or clearing out Gym and Bedroom. They've been quite lethal through this game so far, but the Blitz definitely stalled just for a little bit. Kobe, the gun behind him, felled. Sexy Cake with a massive double. The Bolo bounces back a little bit, but only a little. 10 HP on, he remains. Nate is able to make that advantage real, though. 3v2. Arthur trying to find one person on DarkZero, lacking as they push into Gym, but nobody's biting. This will be a 3v2 for the remainder of this late round.
You have Bo on 10 HP, but DarkZero, maybe unbeknownst to them at this current moment in time, but they have full control of this portion of the building. They got plenty of time to discover this as well. Bo is out of drones. So is Nave. Actually down to 1 if our HUD is correct as of right now. So that could be kind of a big issue here, depending on if that's NJR's drone or not, and it isn't. So DarkZero now have to do a lot of self-discovery here, Carter. This could become a huge risk, and that begs the question, how do they operate with this around Bo? Do they just want him to toss his stuns in and try and make a break for it, just to try and get some semblance of knowledge on these lowest positions? Exactly how does Nave want to try and draw this up? He's going to be the one with the planter in his back pocket. Arthur now going fishing here as well, trying to get ahead of these smokes. He's got a nitro cell in pocket. Let's see how it breaks down.
See how it breaks down. The issue is with Bo on such low HP. How is this tip of the spear going to be effective? Oh no! Arthur reloads at a key moment. One player is able to creep through the smoke, but C4 goes out and bullets land instead. Legacy, Arthur make this a 2v1. Make this a 2-4 half. Recovering from DarkZero's blitzkrieg into Gym.
A little terrifying there just on that timing as we see the window hop and the nitro cell go back in the pocket, but they're able to clean it up anyways with that position deeper inside of sight, picking up 2. Why our player here inside of CCTV doesn't get punished. But overall, a extremely solid half there from DarkZero. I mean, as for Los, though, kind of some struggles. We saw them really only able to make the most out of that one roam that we saw pretty early on. I believe it was round 2 that they were able to sweep under the rug. And DarkZero just really did not have an answer for that. But, I mean, past that, a lot of things just not going their way, especially in these opening moments. I mean, even that round right there, getting severely punished over on the weight/master side of things. Yeah, they do quite a bit of damage to Bo, but the fact that DarkZero are not only able to get man control back under their umbrella, but they're also able to make pretty solid headway over towards the site. I mean, it's just been a constant struggle here for Los to try and find some traction.
Yeah, I mean, if the site was not Church Arsenal and Los were not running a really extended roam, not only were they putting forth the same old solutions or problems against DZ, but DarkZero had already proven in round 1 and then basically confirmed it in round 3 that they could clear those smaller, tighter setups much easier than the extended stuff. And what did Los do? They just kept running the same stuff, and it did work out last round in CCTV, but it still had to be a 2v3. And aside from one singular round that DarkZero won anyway, they had every single man advantage in that first half. And now they get to go to their defenses. By far and away, their stronger side against SSG yesterday, winning, I believe, 5 rounds out of 5 in a row on that second half. So this is a very dangerous position for Los to find themselves in. We can give them credit right now, though. Look at how quick this top floor clear is. To be fair, it's only mute jammers up top, but Los are not getting baited by that fake presence.
I love the setup that they're bringing in as well. You've got the blitz to try and, shake some things up on the defensive end, try and get somebody to run away from you, just make things weird. That's what the shield players are always about. You have to deal with them in a completely different way than you would any other player. And then you have things like Lion and Jackal on top of that, which are just such a nuisance, especially when somebody like Blitz is on the field. So DarkZero do have to deal with quite a bit, but as of right now, the Electro Shuffle's working out for NJR, and DarkZero across the board just doing their little dance, as nobody's really had to deal with too much pressure. Yeah, they did have some semblance of something going on across the map, and Los have respected that, but now it's down to getting some hatches open and seeing if they can potentially get some pressure on the true positions of DZ.
And if that utility game ends up working out for DarkZero, I think a lot of this will come down to how Legacy is able to maneuver around that blitz. I mean, nothing really lost by DarkZero on the roam because nobody was there, just a couple mute jammers, and you buy it. You end up buying a minute. You damage some X-Kairos. You're wasting a lot of time. Minute 10 seconds remaining, and Los is struggling to find a way into the site. I think, Sam, maybe you disagree. I think, especially since he's still trying to get this kitchen hatch, it might all be on the Legacy of this blitz.
Yeah, I'm honestly just really surprised that we're not seeing, pressure from one of these angles. I think that's what he was trying to do here by applying these X-Kairos on the floor where they're not going to get electrocuted, because you can actually pressure up against this angle. This is exactly what I was asking for. You need somebody to try and occupy that while you're getting this hatch, because otherwise the Electroclaws, there's constantly going to be a problem. And Los, they're now looking for a solution in the moment, but look at this, Carter. The timer's just eating at them, and I cannot express this enough, guys, how important the kitchen hatch is. It oversees practically all of Armory, and Los, they're trying to put this together in a matter of moments, and usually this is when you see things fall off the wagon in Siege.
With how low time is getting, he'll send Legacy into dirt. Maverick opening up a hole. Time for the blitz to try to cause some chaos, but he's going to get into position with only about 13 seconds remaining, and that's being generous. Sexy Cake on this long angle has to walk through the Zoto. The Lion by himself in blue, cut down. Still a 3v3 though. Los have not an advantage, but at least something better than I think any of us thought they'd get. They might bring them back down to reality though. Arthur might get into the site, but it's just Wizard on the coverage. Is he like Bo? He's certainly hitting shots like him. Diffuser goes down. We're in a post plant. Pam's on the close angle. No match for the Bearing 9. Rabbit out of a hat. Complete magic from Los in their first attack.
DarkZero have one, and Los have another. What is up with these basement 1vx's, practically with a planner going on, right? I mean, this is just absolutely insane stuff that we're seeing mechanically out of both of these teams. Very well done there from Los, and I mean, hey, it might not have been pretty, but they got it done at the end of the day, and with some solid mechanics around that Bearing 9.
As many bombs as they can.
It's certainly just excellent stuff. Beautiful stuff on that play. Of course, I want to hear some of these reactions. I imagine he's losing his mind after this. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, man.
I mean, I'd be losing my mind. 1 mag, 3K, Bearing 9, 2v3 clutch, while I'm the only player covering the plant. Like, honestly, I don't want to make any statements. I think that that certainly rivals Bolo's from earlier. I think the only difference maker, Bolo had that 180, but Wizard had more kills. Or no. I guess
the same.
They had the same amount of kills, but like Wizard's 3 kills are more stylish, right? I don't know.
Were they? Because the 180, I don't know. I don't know. If anything, I'll say this. I think that those first 2 kills, just back to back with how accurate he was in that moment, I'll give him that. He might have Bo by like a shred, but it's extremely close. Like both of those clips, if I had a YouTube channel of my own, they're going on there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
both are impressive. If you switched the names, nobody would know the difference. They were 100%. Both of certainly commensurate quality. Well, Los get their first round off of the back of it, but we can applaud heroics all we want. We could certainly be excited that we saw them. It did still have to be heroics to get Los that first round. 13 seconds left, struggling to get into the site. It had to be Wizard. It had to be Wizard to make that happen. So DarkZero, I think, certainly still not only have a 4v3 lead, or 4-3 lead in round count going into this, but also we need to see a bit better of an argument for Los on how they're going to win these rounds. Wizard taking some quick control. That was definitely the bright spot from Los in the previous round, moving quickly throughout that top floor. But 1, will they be able to keep that control? 2, are they aware of Kobe playing down at the bottom of main stairs? Whether they are or not, Sexy Cake is watching the main window right now, but he does give it up. How much do they know about Kobe on the realm?
And the difference between Kobe up against Sonics that first game and as of now, what, the leash they've essentially gave him, or rather taken off, just making it to where he's a lot more comfortable with his op choices. We're seeing a lot more roaming instances out of him as well. And a moment right here where he could make the most of it. Nave's going to take down one. Farius and him actually end up trading. So probably a pretty interesting one there, as that bout went off very quickly. Going to get a drone inside of Cash here as well. So a pretty obvious play as to where this is going for Los as of now. For DarkZero, though, and specifically Kobe, how does he want to go about this?
I was going to say, this does force Kobe's hand a little bit. DarkZero has to reallocate resources in sight as Kobe allocates 1 boss G-shot. into Wizards' torso. Reclaims the advantage for DarkZero, though I suppose it was only momentary for DZ on that trade. Legacy looking in the garage, hoping that player peeks, but in the 3v4, only players inside of construction remaining, basing a lot on these flashbangs. The bullets are certainly hitting for Los. The shots are landing, but DarkZero keeping close control of the site. One player planting on this soft wall. They've got Red Rotate caught down. And they can't stop this diffuser from landing inside a cache. NJR and Kobe separated. Kobe alone. Kobe out. Tie game between Los and DarkZero.
The energy is off the charts right now for Los. Sexy Cake feeling himself. The coach in there as well. Everybody prepared to try and take down DarkZero. And this is where things come back to bear for our man in the top right, Nafe. What is going to be the big change here for them? And really, what has been going on? Well, inside of these last 2 rounds, we've seen them put up a pretty considerable effort to the initial volley from Los. The biggest thing is that Los are making the most out of these moments. I mean, specifically the first time, obviously, a crazy mechanical moment, but this time around, able to practically bully their way into the site. I was a little worried there, Carter. We had 3 people stacked on cache door, all flying in off these stun grenades, and just a really nice crisp shot up against Bo. If that went the other way, then things could have been a completely different story, but that was that coin flip that ended up on the face of Los. And yeah, past that, able to just really make the most out of it, get that plant down. The positioning for DarkZero was already really arrived past Bo going down. And Kobe, I mean, not there until that very plant ended up going down. So a lot of things there at the tail end that DarkZero can potentially look into. Maybe they end up playing things a little bit closer to the chest and force Los to try and go for, this big execute up against the full breadth of their lineup, but we'll just have to see. As of right now, we're going to have a pretty aggressive front here from Pambazoo, but might have the capability of getting a sneaky kill here too.
You'd hope. I mean, Kobilax, Pambazoo, that duo on the roam yesterday was so strong. I mean, really, 4 players aside from Nave were all incredibly strong on that defensive side. NGR having a bit more strength in repelling executes from SSG or finding 1v1s in the site or 1v3 yesterday as well. Bolo, similar story, holding down anchor positions behind deployable shields. But when it came to getting aggressive, Pambazoo and Kobilax were so successful yesterday. And Kobe only 2 kills right now. We feel like he's had a lot of impact, but really, when it comes to the scoreboard, Kobe has not exactly had the game that he had against SSG yesterday. Pambazoo as well. Certainly not doing poorly, but certainly I think we'd hope to see him bounce back a little more on this defensive side. They've spotted him playing around the main stairs right now. No need to get aggressive as Smoke in this position. And also, to be fair, to kind of counter my own point, also not a whole lot of need for DarkZero to get aggressive in this round. Remember, it was heroics from Wizard to get this. DarkZero just 5-man held the site, and Los had to execute with 10 seconds remaining.
And that's what we're hoping to see again. We're hoping to see them double down and just try and make it to where Los are kind of pigeonholed into an execute that they're expecting. I think they did a pretty bang-up job of that last time, especially with NJR on those Electro Claws, constantly thwarting the game plan around the kitchen hatch. It was just the fact that they adjusted over to the Kool-Aid wall so quickly, or the Ash wall, whatever you guys call it at home. And yeah, just honestly, Los making the most out of that situation. So see if they can do it again here. NJR back in a very similar position as he's going to try and get in the face of Legacy and make his life as difficult as possible. Does have a Nitro Cell here too, as he's going to try and listen to see where those shots are coming from that X-Kairos. Actually get a big Nitro Cell kill here. Wizard does have a nice angles. He's going to be holding this from the main hallway, and this is always a threat, but he's not able to complete the promise, as NJR is only going to get nipped in the back there, but not enough to actually take him down. 45 seconds remain for Los to try and solve this puzzle.
I mean, I gotta be honest here. I mean, they're running into the exact same problem they had last time, and they're really sticking the Jackal instead of maybe just trying to bring a Thatcher. I mean, obviously, DarkZero have a lot of tools. They have mechanical with the Zoto canisters from Tuberow and electronic with the Electroclaw, so it doesn't solve all your problems, but Jackal didn't really hold a lot last time, even if maybe you get a bit faster of a clear from it. Just seems like right now, even with Kitchen Hatch open, we're still low on time again. We are still struggling to make our way into the site, and it's actually probably going to come even later than it did in the round that Los barely got over the line last time. Bolo's able to get the opening pick, though Los equalized very quickly. Similar position. Los on the back foot. Los starting to fight back. A huge flick that does it, but a huge C4. Wait, what?
Who won this round? I'm genuinely asking, who won the round?
What? Now hold on. What? Okay, so my brain was sending so many conflicting signals.
DarkZero won!
Cause I saw Los cheering and I was so confused. I thought DarkZero won because of this C4 right here. Because you get the C4, you get the double, and exactly, okay, they went on time. I don't know why were Los just like really like, oh, that was close. It really looked like they were cheering.
It really did. It caught me fully off guard there. But DarkZero, they're going to be able to maintain the lead here after Los ended up tying things up. And it just comes down to the utility game again. That's what I was hoping to see out of DarkZero, and they went exactly for that, Carter. They need to lock up the hatches again, make it difficult for Los to try and process this site. And they brought it all the way down to the wire. I mean, how long was Los flirting with this kitchen hatch? Probably a solid minute and 45 seconds, and they still were not capable of getting things dealt with until they brought the Selma charges in. And then once the Selmas go down, then we have Tubarão start freezing up the hatch. I mean, for Los, it seemed like an indomitable position. They finally get things done. They barrel their way down main stairs with 10 seconds remaining on the clock and just almost get a plant down, but that's shut down too by a well-placed nitro cell out of Bolo.
Bolo 14 and 6 up until this point, by the way, so might not be the consistent team performance we saw from DarkZero yesterday, but it certainly is one man leading the charge, and leading the charge in an incredibly impactful way on attack and defense. Now, as we enter round 10, Los struggling to consistently get advantages into the execute, have enough time to land these executes. I think at this point we have to commend their individual consistency. I mean, Sexy Cake almost repeating exactly what Wizard did in round 7, but ooh, timing just gets Pamazoo right there. They're able to open up the server wall, at least open up a section of it, force Pamazoo back. The gym bedroom hold, DarkZero can certainly still hold on to cash for a period of time, but Los making good progress early on. Need to see better time management for them here.
That was very good communication out of DarkZero as well. You saw a quick Pamazoo just stripped right over to the construction area and was able to get that other bandit battery down just to try and make it to where they can't get a nice little cross angle into that space. That was DarkZero, some extra area to play with, and that one pretty hot commodity, especially nowadays. As for Legacy and the rest of the gang, though, Los are looking to try and work their way in from this jacuzzi balcony, at least as of right now. Is actually not where the case is going to be. I thought we did have that on the therm there for just a split second, but it's actually going to be on Arthur. They're going to be going for the hatch plant here inside of Waits. This is open. There's a man literally staring him in the face. Not anymore, though, because Sexy Cake is going to remove said face, and he's going to start planting directly here on the hatch. Is there a nitro cell to stop this? I don't even think anybody knows that it's going on. And the plant, it's done. It's dusted.
Wait,
Sexy Cake gets a kill on... No, it's actually not. It came down to the very microsecond, and it didn't even go down. Los have lost the case. It's a 3 versus 3, and Kobe has oversight over the main breach.
No shot. That is insane from Nath, able to impact through the floor and I think just spray the Amaru after that, putting her so low. Massive play from the Goyo right there. Follows it up with a second. Sexy Cake fell. DarkZero in such a strong position to clinch match point right now. Kobe has this information, but Farius reacts quicker. 2v2, this will likely come down to kills. Wizard and Farius so separated. No Bs for the Grim to try to provide any further intel. Can't take down one of the BPs. Flying blind or DarkZero as the mirror takes this fight, but the reaction's so clean for DarkZero. Wizard knows one's on the opposite side of that hallway. It's the only one there. But DarkZero a bit more individually together in round 11. Or round 10, excuse me. As to get to round 11, DarkZero now found themselves on match point.
There's just so many moments in this thing, Lynx, where it's just been on a knife's edge. It could go either way, and a lot of the times here, if you saw the win graph like you were, on ESPN or whatever, you would just see the percentile like 90% in Los's favor or DarkZero's favor, right? And then immediately it would just change stratospheres as it shoots in the other direction, and somehow the other team has, been able to take the round. It has been a wild roller coaster ride, in between Los and DarkZero here so far, and I don't think a lot of people were prepared for this. I can definitely tell you, I was not emotionally prepared for what we were going going to be seeing in between these two teams. I thought we were going to be seeing a couple things worked out, you know, some improvement on the two systems that we've been seeing across these last handful of play days. But instead, what we've got is this action-packed roller coaster, which we might have not even seen the last peak of. I mean, we are going to have a timeout here from Los, and I mean, hey, might as well use it. DarkZero's already on penultimate point. They're looking to claim their last one, moving on in here to round 11. What does Los want to give us for our last potential defensive standpoint?
It's just so frustrating so far, and I'm glad they have this timeout. I'm glad they're able to take this pause, but if Los just have a bit more strategic power, a bit more, not necessarily that they're lacking the thought put into some of these strategies, but they're struggling with this implementation, struggling to solve the problems with this attacking side. But can you imagine if we had a bit better strategy from Los, combined with the top-tier individual performances or mechanics we've seen from basically everybody on Los aside from Arthur at some point today? I mean, there is an extremely winnable game for Los in here. There's a game where they probably could be up 6-4 right now if they just have maybe 5% better strategy. They're able to clear things just a little quicker, able to allocate their utility a little more efficiently, and then combine that with the performances we have. This could be an entirely different game, but it's still relatively close. DarkZero might be on match point, but Los have 2 rounds to try to bring this to OT, just like they were able to do a whole stage ago on this same map against DZ.
I wouldn't even say it's down to, you know, the strategies as a whole. I think the mainline strategies aren't even that bad. I think the main thing is their adaptability has been poor.
For sure.
You take the basement instances here and what Los were trying to deal with that kitchen hatch, especially looking at it the second time around. I mean, they practically went about it the same way. There was just no real thought put into what is going to be the next step in order to stop NJR from just soaking up all of this time. Instead, it was a last-ditch effort out of those Selma charges and then the two Barrows there as well. So I mean, I just think that there's a couple of things that in the moment Los could try and manage to change, but that's something that they're more than likely going to have to talk about after this. As of right now, I think it is stick to their strategies and just try and see if they can bowl over DarkZero. It's worked a couple of times here. They just need it to work twice in order to get to overtime.
I think to be fair a little bit to Los, though, it's not like DZ have made it easy for them. I mean, we've had consistently a Cade 2-Barrel combo on the Church Arsenal sites. Now we have it for the first time on CCTV and Cash, and we also have a Mira on the server wall. So Los do bring Thatcher. They do disable that EMP. Then the Thermite gets Zoto canistered. Then it gets destroyed by a popped mirror window. DarkZero are making this as difficult as they can, but Los are not making it any easier for themselves in round 11. Darius just seems to not be drone. Dokkaebi call goes out.
No way.
Kobe's just popping heads with the SMG-12, and he runs away. Opens up the hatch, drops down into bar. He just can exist around the first floor now. The thought of him will be enough to cause Los some concern, and he'll make the even better decision and rotate further over to the Cash side. It's tough to see a way for Los out of this 3v5.
Disgusting stuff. And one of those moments that even inside of just a casual game, you're just like, what exactly is this person doing here? He's seeing if you're lazy. That's all Kobe was doing. Are you guys lazy? Are you not going to drone me at the top of main stairs? Well, fantastic. Let me kill 2 of you and then ride off into the night like I'm Batman. Just absolutely insane stuff out of Kobe here. Bo's going to get a nice shot on Wizard. That Nitro Cell might eat up Sexy Cake. It won't, but it's practically over now. It's a GG in the chat from Kobe. He's feeling himself here as the play days starting to look a little bit easier for DarkZero. Some brighter days potentially after a frustrating start. After Canadian gets dropped from the roster, DarkZero have 2 big wins here, capped off on this beautiful Friday.
Talk about an exciting game between DarkZero and Los. Definitely, I think, a little bit more to be desired for Los' side. We can still see the pieces there. I think Fox's faith in them is definitely well placed, I will say. But man, we could have had another overtime game if Los just a bit better on that coordination, a bit better on reacting, as you mentioned, on, say, that basement site. I think we have a whole different ball game. But that's game 1 done. Enjoy looking at all these highlights again.
DarkZero's best performance of the stage thus far manifested a 7-2 victory over Los on Clubhouse in a game that could have ended a lot earlier had a couple of rounds not shifted back to Los's favor, making this one way more interesting than it had any right to be. Congrats to ZZ, but good grief, that thing was really, really fun.
Yeah, I mean, I said this was going to come down to a situation of what team was going to be making a lot more errors than the other and who was going to be able to identify that. And let me tell you, it wasn't DZ. Los had a lot of questionable plays that we were in the back that were just like, what are you doing in this situation? Because you played this map, it's pretty fundamentally like based, and you're still not understanding what you're doing.
I mean, I could say the same thing for DarkZero. I felt like once the side swap after a 4-2 half, once you go on defense, which is the easier side, you should have been able to run away with it right away at that 4-2, make it a 7-2. But unfortunately for them, Los was just in the right place at the right time on their attacks. They kept pushing into the site. They kept pushing in through main stairs. On cash side, they pushed through a mirror, and they were consistently getting picks. And it was a really nice back and forth. Unfortunately, DarkZero was the way more consistent one, but it was really nice to see the competitiveness of the gunfights. I didn't expect this game to be as much of a brawl as it was.
So other than Wizard getting the 3K and Sexy Cake having the 2K in Dirt, and a couple of other times where DarkZero looked like they had a strategy and then it maybe fell through right at the last second, this was a DZ game almost from the jump. And to Vox's point, had those first two defensive rounds not been slight slip-ups, this thing could have been over faster.
Yeah, I mean, you could see from the stats that it's just DarkZero the whole way. I mean, their attacks, we constantly talk about Clubhouse being about your attacks, and DarkZero's attacks were phenomenal. The way that they were able to isolate every Los member into individual 2v1s, it was really nice to see how quick they were, and they're finally finding their footing to being a lot more consistent. Not to say that Los didn't try. Once Los had their own variables of attacks, it was really nice to see the attacks on both sides be pretty good.
And there's a reason why you're seeing Bolo on your screen 3 times in a row. Top performer, bar none in this matchup. Not just the highlight plays, but what he did from round 1 onward just didn't stop here.
Yeah, and this was the round that I was specifically talking about. Like, what is Los doing? I mean, you saw Sexy Cake die right there underneath due to the drone hole, and then a guy staying on the shield. But Bolo, I mean, had a phenomenal game here, getting that huge clutch right there to bring that back where it looked like that should have been a Los round overall. But, I mean, we did highlight, you know, on both teams of where they were messing up, but the team that just looked better as a team came down to DarkZero, where Los, their wins came off individual prowess and were just a player really stepping up, but not it coming from the entire roster.
I'll give Bolo his flowers. I mean, you could see every single, since the game started, I was even mentioning it back in the back room, that his movement looked very smooth. Every single position that he was putting his crosshair in was very smooth. And obviously, he had a very good individual day. But if you saw from those clips, every single position that he was in, DZ was setting him up phenomenally in every single spot. They got him in a position that he needed to be, and there was no real moment where he is pushing, really entering in all of his clips. He's in his position, he's locking it down, and when you put a turret, you know, in a room, he was just clearing everybody out.
Round 5 is kind of a microcosm of this game, I feel like. Not just because Bolo had the clutch right at the very end, but when Los had an advantage, they weren't really able to make anything of it.
Yeah, we really loved what Los was doing. This was round 5. They got really aggressive. They were going for aggressive fights. They got 3 individual isolated 1v1s. DarkZero really wasn't trading anything at all, unfortunately for them. But fortunately for DarkZero, the fast adaptability from Bo to be able to get into Church. They isolated the individual player inside of Church. Once they have it locked down, you see the rest happen. And I know you may be thinking, oh, I didn't know DarkZero spoke a little Portuguese. I mean, me neither, but it sounded like the comms got pretty excited there, and Bolo was just able to clean up that round.
Yeah, I mean, again, you got to give hats off to Bolo. He's having a wonderful game, and this is what we wanted to see from the roster because we weren't sure from that first game. We obviously saw a little resurgence in the second game, but I mean, this third game is definitely solidifying that Nafe is finding his comfortable role in that IGL, leading this team to success, and then obviously Bolo and all the players around them are finding their footing once again. So kudos to DZ for pulling out this W.
There's no other guy that we could grab for the interview other than Jason Doty himself. Dude, congratulations on the win. I'm very sorry that you heard us do nothing but talk about you for the past 5 minutes, but good stuff overall today. First of all, all, talk to me about the situation with everybody in DZ all being in the same room. Wasn't a thing for week 1. Now it's back here. What's the deal? What's it like being in the same room with everybody again?
First of all, what's up, guys? How you guys doing? But yeah, we just got a team house out here in the Austin area, so we're all slowly trickling in. Yeah, we didn't have it for the first week, but we're here now for the rest of the stage and hopefully playoffs and for the near future afterwards. So it is definitely nice to have everybody together. We're still waiting on Kobe. Very soon he'll be here.
Got a question for you. So Kobe talked about, the change of you guys being a little more faster pace, and we obviously saw that in yesterday. We see it a little bit today. Is that something that is going to be staying permanent, or is it going to kind of be flexing around where you guys are going to be a little passive in some areas, but then also aggressive in others?
I mean, yeah, I think when you look at the roster, we can all shoot, right?
Yeah.
So I think we gotta find our strong suit and just kind of capitalize on it. If we can all shoot, we can just get up in people's faces and fight them just 1-on-1, 2-on-1, whatever it may be. We'll probably outgun in that department, and obviously we still have the strat. We can play passive when we need to. That's what DZ's known for, slow and steady, right? But we're just having fun out here.
For sure.
That's great to hear. If we can look a little bit more in-depthly on that 4-2 swap, once you guys got onto defense, were you unexpecting how fast Los was going to be when things went awry? They were able to rush into the site back-to-back rounds. What was your guys' adaptation after that?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew it was either going to be polar opposites of really slow, methodical default or just like end the round within a minute. So we were kind of ready for anything. But then again, this is kind of a new low squad. It's been a minute since we've seen any VODs or anything like that. So we just played default Siege and we came in on top. So it's a win.
I got a question. Was there a reason why Clubhouse got brought here? Because obviously this, is now taking over for Oregon's place of kind of being like this Coliseum. You're going to bring teams here because you just feel that you're better fundamentally. But was it also worrisome to go to such a, map like this? And I mean, it wasn't like a decisive win of, like a 7-2, 7-1. What was the thought process behind the map bans?
I mean, yeah, Clubhouse is Clubhouse.
Yep.
It hasn't changed. It never will change. So it was just kind of a safe bet for a team that we haven't really seen much on. So you can't really do anything too different on Club, honestly. So it was a good pick for these guys.
For sure.
Walk us through the round 5 moment real quick. From start to end, after Los get those 3 opening picks, what specifically made it so possible for you to go downstairs, immediately take site, and then walk us through the clutch as it happens? We'll pull it up here.
I mean, yeah, the call was just to kind of do like a little momentum shift and just kind of hit the side off after working some lounge guys, but it just got scrappy. That's just a scrappy round, and that's when it kind of comes down to the gunfight of our roster, where just in those tricky situations, I think as Fox was saying, just sometimes you just got to put a sentry turret in a room full of dudes.
Well, you were that sentry turret.
Yep.
Well, congratulations. It's a really good week for you guys. No better way to break off the what happened in the very first week. So again, this is the best possible start post-SQ game that you guys could have had. We'll see you guys next week. Please keep the momentum going because this game was a lot of fun and we had a lot of fun over here, dude. Take care.
That's the plan. Thank you guys. Take care.
DarkZero looking good, man.
I mean, the fans got to be happy. They were all worried. Everyone was talking about their team, talking about how bad they were. We were talking about that bad they were. But I gave them grace.
We had reasons to be concerned, too.
Let's be clear here. I said, hey, it's only one game. There's still a lot of games to be played, and they are showing everyone that they are still competitive regardless of the changes that they're making.
I mean, when you switch your IGL, it's not just the calling and just the position that gets changed. It's the whole fundamentals. Yeah. And as you heard himself say, it's taken them time. They are more passive players, but they're kind of breaking out of that shell. They're getting used to making these fast plays. And thankfully, this game up against Los, they were able to get such a lead that a lot of those fast plays we were able to see, specifically that round 5. I mean, if you're a slow passive player, you wouldn't even think, oh, we lost 3 people, I'm going to push into church and go for this gunfight. But that's what they did. Great adaptation call. And when you put great players in great positions, they make stuff happen.
Yeah, Los couldn't keep the streak going. It's not 2 wins straight. We'll have to find out what other opponent gives them the best possible chance of winning come next week. We're already done. Everyone's played 3 games now so far, so we are officially 1/3 done with the NAL. But coming up, Luminosity and M80 have their 4th game after the break.
It's total calamity, total mayhem inside of the server. Out of nowhere, they find their round back into their favor.
Holding up for the blood, the wave! And I think he might just find it!
Got you tulips in a twist. Hand out boss like communist. No, I can never ever get back all the things I missed. But I'm that man that think you got the gist. Got you tulips in a twist.